Okay, good evening, everybody. I think we have everybody's in that's supposed to be. My name is Gerard Donovan. I'm head of the Faculty of Business and Humanities at MTU. I might get my colleagues to introduce themselves. Mirish
Hello, yeah, I'm Murray Shalera. I'm working in the early childhood care and education in MTU Kerry.
and Roisin.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Roisin McKenna, and I'm the Programme Director, the Placement Coordinator, and I lecture on the Social Care Programme, which is CAO approved here in the Kerry campus.
Thanks, Roisin. Mary.
Hi everyone, I'm Mary Galvin. I'm head of the Department of Applied Social Studies at MTU Cork, and the programme that I'll be probably talking about tonight to you would be our Social Care Work BA, which is also CAO approved.
Thanks, Mary. And Con.
Hello all, Con Burns is my name. I'm a lecturer in the Department of Sport, Leisure and Childhood Studies in MTU Cork.
Okay, so just to let people
Sorry,
know...
Gerard, could I come in there?
Sorry, apologies, Fiona. I didn't see you. Apologies. Go ahead, Fiona.
Hello, my name is Fiona O'Flynn. I'm head of the Department for the International Medical Commencement on the Kerry campus. And I'm here tonight to talk about a new programme. It's a BSc Level 8 Honours in Digital Health and Informatics for Healthcare. And it's the only Level 8 of its kind in Ireland. Thank you.
Thanks, Fiona. And we might give you a spot in a minute just to talk specifically about that, okay? So just to let our visitors know that at the end of the screen you have a Q&A button. So if you click on that Q&A button, you might all do that now just to see, and you can type in a question and we will answer that question either by typing the answer or else we'll answer it live by actually speaking to that question. So I can see a couple of questions coming in and I'll try to moderate. So can I become a PE teacher if I study Rec Leg? Over to you, Con.
Yeah, so I suppose the short answer to that one is no. There is a pathway from recreation and leisure to business studies teaching. And that would be after doing the 3 years Rec Leg to progress on to our final year in sport and exercise, and then applying for the postgraduate diploma, or HTIP in business studies teaching. The course we would have that would align with the physical education would be the coaching science and sports pedagogy program. So that one would have the teacher council accreditation, and there would be a pathway through the University of Limerick onto physical education for that program.
Okay, and just to say to people, it's the chat button. My apologies. So it's the Q&A we see, but if you want to type a question, just click on the chat icon and you can type your message. That will come directly to us. There was a question there, Mary and Roisin, about the difference between social work and social care and social work. So if one of you wants to take that.
Yeah, I'll answer from my perspective as a social care worker, I suppose, first. Yeah, it's something, I suppose, that comes up a lot. What is the difference between social care work and social work? The distinct difference really now that we're seeing in social care is that a social work tends to be case management. So if you were to pursue a career in social work, you'd be managing cases. Whereas the distinct difference, if you're a social care worker, you are the person that is working directly with that person, doing the interventions, doing the plans, and supporting the person. So I'll give you an example. If you had an interest in working in Tusla, for example, a social worker would manage the cases of children who are at risk or in care. It's the social care workers that would actually work in the residential houses, supporting the young people on a day-to-day basis. So I'm not sure, Mary, if you have anything to add to that.
No, that is absolutely perfect, folks. That's social care and social work. But I think, Gerard was saying in this question, it was the difference between social care and social care work. And if that's the case, guys, there's no difference. It's just in Cork, we call it social care work. And then in Kerry, it's social care. But the minimum requirement to practice as a social care worker in Ireland is a level 7. That's CAO approved, and you're covered whether you're in Cork or Kerry. You are absolutely covered if you want to be a social care worker. But social work is exactly what Roisin was saying there. It's a different type of career.
Yeah, and I suppose it's important to say as well, if you wanted to pursue a career in social work, you could use social care work to get your degree, your undergrad, and then you could go on to study a master's in social work. So that's also an option.
Thanks, Fiona. There was a question there in relation to new programs. So do you want to talk about the new program?
That's great. Thanks, Ger. Yeah, so the new program is BSc Honours in Digital Health and Informatics for Healthcare. It's a new program on the CAO as MT 815 for September 2025. The program is 4 years in duration, 3 years on campus, and then the final year, the whole of the final year is work placement. There's, I suppose, in relation to content for the program, there's 3 pillars. There's a bioscience pillar, a health science, and a data science pillar. Now, the program was developed in collaboration with companies, health tech companies, the HSE, and the Bond Secure health system. And it was developed because there's an increased workforce required for the digital transformation in healthcare. Graduates would work in a number of different areas in the digital health sector. They would be able to support the design and development of medical devices and health apps, particularly where they interface with healthcare professionals and patients. They would be evaluating medical devices and health apps, see if they're fit for purpose. Also involved in training healthcare professionals, clinicians, and patients on how to use them. And then a very large area is the health informatics, and health informatics combines health and IT, and it determines how health data is captured, collected, organized, managed, and most importantly, secured. Where will graduates work? There's over 200 digital health companies in Ireland. 35 are based here in the Southwest region. So graduates would work in those companies. They would also work in the HSE, the Bond Secure Health System. They have a number of hospitals in Ireland, and also in medical and pharma companies.
Okay, thanks, Fiona. And again, if you have any other questions in relation to that program, just type in in the chat and we'll answer them. There's a couple of questions there on early childhood. So one is in relation to, can I become a primary school teacher if I study early childhood?
The answer to that simply is yes, you can. Yes, you can. Once you get it's 2-1 in your 4th, you have obviously a level 8, and then you can go on to study your PME in Mary I or Hibernia. We also in MTU Kerry, we have 4 modules in the Irish language, which will help you as well with qualification for Irish, the TEG, TEG, if you don't have already got sufficient points in your Leaving Cert. So that's the answer to that. Most definitely, and a lot of our students indeed who have studied Irish, as those modules have gone on, a majority have gone on to do primary teaching and have got the PME very successfully, yes.
There's another question there in relation to what are the modules in early childhood.
Yes, again, I'll talk for Kerry, MTU. The answer to that with the 3 distinctions is yes. You would join then year 2 on our course, and year 2 will consist of the first semester is modules, it's on campus, and the second semester is placement. So yeah, if you get your 3 distinctions, so we wish you every luck with that. Yes, absolutely.
And just if you do a search just in relation to the modules, each of our programs is up online. So if you do modules.cit.ie or MTU and modules, you'll come to a page where it lists our programs, and basically you can see all the different programs, and you can go into all the different modules, and it'll show you the content, the syllabus content. It'll show you the types of assessment, how you're examined over the semester. So again, that's all there in the modules for each of the programs. What kind of modules are involved in early childhood? We've kind of answered that, haven't we?
Yeah, well, yeah, can I just come in there very quickly?
Sure, yeah.
Modules on psychology, on creative learning, on play, on sociology, and also outdoor learning, outdoors, and Irish language, and early literacy development. So a number of modules, all equipped to help you work with children in early education. I hope that, and again, as Jared said, you'll find the modules themselves on mtu.ie, Kerry, yeah.
Okay, thanks, Marish, for that. I know Gerardina is answering the nursing program again. Your opportunity if you have any questions. about the programs, about the CAO process, about the points, etc., just click on the chat icon and we'll answer any questions you might have. So what's the difference between rec leisure and sports and exercise management? Over to you, Con.
So I suppose the rec leisure program, they're both Bachelor of Business. The rec leisure would be a level 7, so that would be a 3-year program. On completion of that, though, students who receive sufficient grades would be eligible to progress on to our 4th year. So ultimately, after, if you do the 3+1 model, you will come out with the same qualification. The sport and exercise, then, it's a straight 4-year level 8 degree. So you come into that program in 1st year and you have a straight 4-year pathway through the program. One thing that the Rec Leisure option gives you is after 3 years, you can go into the sport and exercise and join that class. You can exit with your level 7, you can leave and go working, or you can go into the business studies course, which would be your Bachelor of Business. So there's a pathway into pure business. So if you were maybe thinking, is it rec leisure or business, I suppose that might be a way that it kind of gives you the option after 3 years to go the sport or the business route. So that's the primary difference.
Thanks, Con. There's a question there in relation to the CAO offers sent out to applicants. So typically when the Leaving Cert results come out, it's typically probably a week to 2 weeks after that when the offers are made. And then typically students would have a couple of days to respond to accept their preference. So there's a question here, what bachelor's programs do I need to take to continue on to a master's in neuropsychology? Would you like to take that?
Well, I can there if you want, folks. So
Sure. Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead, Mary. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I suppose that's it. The main thing to do if you want to progress on to do any type of masters, the key is having your level 8 first. So that's your ticket to the kingdom. Once you have your level 8, you can move on then and do different postgraduate studies. Currently at MTU, we do not have a master's in neuropsychology. It's, you know, you'd be looking at kind of like clinical psychology, educational psychology, neuropsychology, forensic psychology. They're offered at other institutions in Ireland. But a good, I suppose, for us, if you're just saying, looking at in health and social science, a lot of our graduates from maybe social care, even potentially from nursing, get their level 8 in one of our departments and then will progress on to their postgraduate studies because they will have an undergraduate degree in an area that's similar, but it's the level 8 is the stepping stone that they need. So for example, to make it very personal, way back when, many moons ago, I would have had an undergraduate degree in marketing and languages. And then after a few years, I decided I wanted to go back and I wanted to retrain. And then that put me onto my postgraduate studies in psychology. So I ended up qualifying then and getting a PhD in psychology, but my undergraduate was in something different. So I suppose if you're in a space and you're thinking that I'm interested in psychology, we have lots of different programs that teach psychology as a module. But the key there would just be getting the level 8. I hope that makes sense.
Thanks, Mary. There's another question in relation to, do international EU students have to take the Irish courses? Marisha, I think they might have been referring to the program you were talking about.
Yes, indeed. If you're referring to the program where we offer Irish modules, the answer to that is no. No, our modules are really at post-leaving certificate level. So no, you don't. But I think Irish is a prerequisite for teaching, for primary teaching.
Okay.
Same time.
There's a question there, Geraldine, in relation to nursing. Do you want to answer that one specifically?
Okay, tell me what that is, Jared.
I'm a general nurse from Zimbabwe with 3-year diploma program, but not registered here in Ireland. I want to enroll in the mental health nursing. So do I have to do the whole 4-year program?
Oh, that's a really good question. Thanks for that. To become a mental health nurse, it is actually a 4-year degree. And if you've already qualified as a nurse and you want to become a mental health nurse, you may get what they call recognized prior learning. So what we'll be asking you to do is to share with us the learning outcomes on the modules that you've already successfully completed. And then we will go through the modules that you need to do in order to become a mental health nurse. And we will identify where you've already achieved the learning outcomes. So that might help. Of course, the EU law in relation to nursing stipulates that you have to have a minimum of 2,300 hours done in practice placement. So not only will we be looking at your theoretical modules, but we'll also be looking at your practice modules from the point of view of the number of hours that you've achieved. So that's a process that we will go through called recognized prior learning. I hope that helps.
Thanks, Geraldine. Okay, so any more questions there? There was one about advanced entry applicants notified of their acceptance before the leaving cert.
I'll answer that, Jared.
Yeah,
In
go
my
ahead, yeah.
experience, generally people are notified for advanced entry prior to the leaving cert.
In early childhood studies, when do you go out on placement and how often?
Okay, thank you again for that question. So you go out twice. You go out once in for a full semester or term in second year, and also in third year. So you're looking at 12 weeks to 13 weeks, and they can be in early education settings, creches, preschools, and Leonry, or in primary schools, indeed, the infants classes in primary schools, in line to align with the ASHTR, which is a curriculum framework for early education. So twice, and that's it. And in second year and in third year. I hope that answers the question.
It does, thank you. There's a question there about elective modules. So again, it depends on the program, but typically we have a modularized and semesterized program, and typically on each semester where there might be 6 modules, there's typically an elective in each semester, and students can pick from the electives that are on offer. Some might be in their own discipline area, others might be generic across the university, but typically there's one free elective that students can pick in each semester. Again, where you have maybe a professional accrediting body like CAO, there might be restrictions in relation to the electives that you can take. So again, it's dependent on the program, but if you go into modules.mtu, you'll see the program and it'll list mandatories and electives, so you can have a look at each program. There's a question here. Are there many courses in MTU that require you to apply before the end of May or earlier? For example, counselling and psychotherapy, 25th of April, because I plan to sort out my courses on the CAO after I finish my leaving cert.
I can briefly speak to that,
Yeah.
just because it's counselling and psychotherapy. So counselling and psychotherapy program is a part-time program, so you don't apply to it through the CAO channel. So usually, I think it's the case for everyone, but my colleagues can jump on if it's not the case. But and it's usually the main standard entry point for CAO. Anytime you see something kind of in April or a different date like that, it's a non-CAO program, and it's a different pathway onto it. It's usually a part-time program.
Just there, Mary, and just the kind of placement involved in Montessori? What kind of work placement is involved in
Montessori? Be from Montessori, I'd say, George.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Merce, apologies.
Sorry, we don't offer Montessori in MTU Kerry. I think it's Cork, so I can't answer.
So the placements far now, I'm on the sports side of the house, but to the best of my knowledge, there's 2 placement periods, but that would be under the modules again, Gerard, where the if you log into the program on the website and then under modules, you'll see where placement is positioned within that program.
Yeah, that would fit in with ours as well. I'd say it's the same. Yeah.
Just Con, as you're on, how fit do you need to be to do coaching?
Yeah, so I suppose the thing there, and I suppose if I was to give examples, because I teach a number of the coaching modules. So the first coaching module you'll encounter will be a coaching children and sport module. And for that, for example, the focus here will be that we would bring in a number of children's groups from primary schools, and you would actually lead coaching sessions for them. So realistically, the focus is on you delivering and leading sessions rather than being the participant, and that progresses on. There's a coaching adolescent in sport. Again, we bring in transition year groups, which you would lead coaching sessions with them. So you don't need to be terribly fit yourself, but you know, I suppose what I will always say, you are also a fitness professional or a health professional. So as a role model, it would be important that you would have that, I suppose, in your head when you're taking the course, but it's not a requirement. And then as we progress into third year, there's a coaching elite sport module where we hear from a lot of elite coaches, and we have guest lectures where they come in. So there isn't a focus or a requirement to be terribly fit yourself. It's more being able to deliver coaching sessions.
Very good. There's a question there for you, Marish, in relation to...
Yes, I see that, yeah.
Yeah.
And I know that the modules, we have 4 modules. And again, thank you for the question. You do 1 in second year, 1 in third year, and 2 in fourth year. So to answer your question, yes, that's possible. The modules are not sort of incremental, though they build on each other. And normally people will start in second year and continue with it. But your question was, if, for example, you decide not to do it in second year, can you do it in third year? The answer to that simply is yes, depending on your proficiency in the language. I hope that helps.
Okay. There's just a question there in relation to clubs and societies. So again, there's many clubs and societies in MTU, over 100. And again, I suppose students can start up their own society as well, depending if they have a particular interest. So for example, if you're into photography and there was no photography society, then a group of you could come together and apply to set up a particular society. So they're quite active. And again, as part of your extracurricular activities, we would advise students to get involved in societies to meet people and to expand their horizons. Can you give me some...
If I could come in there, Jared, there's
Yep,
also a sports officer both on the Cork and the Kerry campuses that is there to support the clubs and societies and show them where they can get funding and so forth.
Thanks, Fiona. There's a question there in relation to some of the, maybe for Mary and Roisin. Can you give me some of the examples of the jobs I could get from a qualification in social care work?
Yeah, so as a social care worker myself, we'll be able to give you plenty of examples. I suppose what's unique about the social care programs is that we do practice placement, and it's a condition of our course that you would have to do 2 distinctly different placements throughout the program. So some of our placements and workplaces that our graduates go on to work in, for example, is TUSLA. It could be children in care. It could be family support in the community. You could be working in a house supporting young people, or you could be doing preventative work in the community. We have a lot of our graduates go on to work in homelessness services, supporting people either who are in residential homelessness services or again out in the community. Disability is very common, disability day services where you'd have an activity, community inclusion based approach in the community, or in supporting people in their own homes, or services and homes run by organisations. We have a student currently out in Obertstown Detention Centre, which is a secure setting for young people who've been detained. We would have people employed as family support workers through our FRC network here in Kerry, special education needs organisers. I mean, the list, there was research done by Social Care Ireland in the last couple of years, and the job titles that social care workers leads ran into the hundreds. So I suppose it's quite a varied profession to have, and there's a lot of different roles and great opportunities and brilliant progression opportunities as well.
Thanks, Roisin. We have a question there about the postgraduate programs that will be available after completing the level 8 in early childhood care and education.
Absolutely, yes. Each year we have a number will join us in the second year of the program, but you have to look at the requirements by Kerry College itself for advancement into our program. But to answer your question, yes, of course.
Okay, there's a question here on placement. Geraldine, you're typing that about the nursing, so that's done.
Sure, I was wondering if I'm sorry, but could I come in again there? I see there's a very interesting question there on, can you do physiotherapy with rec leisure?
Sure, yeah.
Now, I'm not too sure in relation to the Cork course, but in relation to the Kerry course in health and exercise science with massage, I'm aware that there's a number of students that go on to do physiotherapy both in Ireland and the UK once they complete that course, and they get exempt from a number of modules. So there is a pathway from the health and exercise science with massage program on the Kerry campus. Maybe Con can answer in relation to the programs on the Cork campus.
Thanks, Fiona. I'll come in there on that. So, so the short answer is yes. After completing RecLeg, you would progress on and do your level 8 qualification, and then you would apply most likely for the Masters in Physiotherapy in UCC. I suppose then our advice to students is that it's up to them to make their application as strong as they can. So it would make sense that they would choose electives, like Fiona said, in massage on our programs, that they might do their placement in a physio-related centre or with a physio potentially, and they might do their dissertation project in final year in working or evaluating maybe injury profiles of athletes and so on. So when they then put that application together and go for an interview for entry onto that program, that their application is as strong as it possibly can be. We've had students who have been successful, but it's also important to note that we've had students who've applied who haven't been successful. So, but it is possible to apply for and gain entry onto that Masters in Physiotherapy.
Thanks, Con. Con, you might answer, as you're on there, the question about the sports facilities. So just to give somebody an insight into the arena and, you know, the track and all that we have.
Yeah, so I suppose in MTU Cork, I would say our outdoor sports facilities has been as good as any other university pretty much in the country. So we have an athletics track. We have a series of pitches. We have kind of 4 GA pitches, 2 rugby pitches, 2 soccer pitches, all floodlit. So in that time of seasons between October and March, it's the hive of activity down there when the games are on. And recently we've just got our new MTU sports arena. So that's a new indoor arena which would have kind of 2 basketball courts parallel that size of a facility, with a new fully equipped gym upstairs, and changing rooms and so on within that facility. We also now have approval for an athletics indoor arena, which will be built alongside the sports arena, and both of these arenas face out and look onto the track. So our indoor facilities now have come on massively. And where we are based in our office space, there is a large indoor gym. It was Munster's Cork base. So that's equipped for, I suppose, strength and conditioning type classes and fitness instruction classes. And it's a state-of-the-art indoor fitness equipment that's purely for our teaching, which is a fantastic facility to have also.
Thanks, Con. I know Michael's going to come in and talk about the Kerry Sports Academy.
Hello. Yeah, the Kerry Sports Academy is in the North Campus in Tralee, and it has the students are when they register, there's a capitation fee of €95. And just as a question there, is it free to use the gym? But thereafter, all students are members of the Kerry Sports Academy and the gym. So there's a gym, there's a high performance gym, there is aerobic studio, dance studio, and there is a therapy pool. And then through the sports clubs, the use of the hall is available at specified times. The gym is universal access gym, so regardless of ability, if you like, or disability, the gym is suitable for those users. And if anyone would like to visit, just kerrysportsacademy.ie is the website, and you can have a look at the facilities. There's plenty of photographs on that particular website.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. A question there, Mary and Roisin, in relation to the social care program. Somebody has put on that, you know, when in another college they have to submit documentation and files, and they've done some courses as well. Just to, I suppose, clarify our admissions program, and it's directly to the CEO. You might just give an insight there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think there might be, so UCC in Cork,
Yeah.
University College Cork, they offer social work programs. They do
Yeah.
not offer social care work programs. Okay, so there's just, it's not possible to apply for social care work at UCC. They don't offer it. So MTU do the social care work programs in Cork and Kerry, as we already said, and there's nothing additional required. It is just go through all of the CAO process as per usual. No additional things there. And I see also, I might just catch it, I think someone asked as well, some there about Garda vetting. And yes, that would be essential, because you will be going out on your placements, and it's very important that you have your Garda vetting before you're put out working with vulnerable groups.
Okay.
George, I see another question there from someone. For the social care program, how many times do you go on placement? So for the level 7, we do placements from year 2 and year 3. We don't have any placement in our year 4 here in Kerry. For the whole program, you have to complete 800 hours of placement. So it's 390 hours in your second year. So typically students go out mid-September to mid-December, and then you're back again with us on campus for an academic semester. And then in year 3, you go out in semester 2, generally from mid-January to kind of mid-May time. So essentially you're out on placement for 2 academic semesters or a year, although they're split up into different semesters. So that answers it.
Thanks, Roisin. There's a question there, Con, maybe for sports science degree. Would you recommend if you wanted to do a master's in sports and nutrition?
Yeah, so I suppose any of our pathways in Cork would be fine, and we would have people who've gone through both pathways progressing on to kind of master's degrees in the areas of sports nutrition. I would say the coaching science program, because that one would be a Bachelor of Science, where the others would be Bachelor of Business, might be more streamlined, because I suppose the sports nutrition is most likely going to be a Master's of Science in sports and nutrition. So there's probably a better pathway in that realm. But as I said, we've had people who've gone both routes and progressed on to sports and nutrition. So I don't know if Michael wants to come in on that as well, maybe.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't hear the full question. I was typing an answer. Could you repeat the question?
Yeah, so the question, Michael, was just around the sports science degree that would be most relevant and you'd recommend for a master's in sports nutrition.
Okay. I would say that any of those courses that MTU have that directly relate to sports, there's coaching science, sports pedagogy, there's recreation leisure, followed by the level 8 version. I think there's coaching and sports performance in Kerry, and there's health, sport, and exercise science in Kerry. And I would suggest that any of those are probably reasonable bets to pursue a master's in nutrition afterwards. Typically, a master's in nutrition, or those don't require, for example, an honours degree in nutrition to follow through. They tend to be standalone packages for that. So I would say any cognate, any relevant degrees that we have would be suitable.
Thanks. There's a question there about parasports at MTU. Just to say that we have, we're a very inclusive university, and I know on the Cork campus, we have the Rebel Wheelers, so it's a wheelchair group that play basketball on a weekly basis. And again, part of that question is whether you could train as an international athlete. Again, Con, you might take that up, but again, sports, there's huge opportunities for students to get involved in sports on all our campuses. But Con and Michael, you might want to add to that as well.
Yeah, and I suppose there would be, for our international athletes, then there would be a sports bursary scheme that would be there to support them as well, and access to facilities as possible for those athletes. And as Ger said, we have a very strong relationship with Rebel Wheelers, with 2 international players just graduated last year, Jack Quinn and Adam Drummond, who had been doing our programs, and both have gone on and graduated. Adam's currently doing a master's in Dublin at the moment, and Jack has gone working. So yeah, we would be very inclusive and supportive for parasports.
Right.
And likewise, we have a number of students who are wheelchair users, for example, or who are involved in wheelchair basketball, and we have powerlifting as well. So it is possible. Whether you build up to become an international athlete is very much depends on the application of the student themselves, but certainly the facilities and the support will allow, it will certainly give every chance for high performance during your years of study.
Thanks, Michael. Geraldine, a couple of questions there on nursing.
Great,
One is
I'll take
yeah.
those. So, Jared, I can see them here
Yeah.
now.
So the,
So the first question relates to mature applications, and I can confirm that there are four access routes into nursing. One is through the mature, as this questioner has asked about, and anybody who goes through the mature route, they will actually wind up doing the assessment test that's set by the Nursing and Midwifery Board of Ireland. So all mature applicants will go through the assessment test. Another access route into nursing is through the CAO and Leaving Cert. Another access route is through the CAO and any other qualification like a QQI5 or any other qualification the person may have. And another access is through the CAO and the National Tertiary Office. So the National Tertiary Office then allows people to actually link in with their local College of Further Education and with the MTU in this case to take either general or mental health nursing. And there's another question from somebody that's already doing their course at Kerry College. And is it possible to do one extra year of mental health nursing? I can confirm that the Nursing and Midwifery Board of Ireland are in the process of writing standards so that a nurse who wants to become an intellectual disability nurse or a mental health nurse or in the future a general nurse can do that over 1 year full time. They're in the process of working on that at the moment, so that will be there. And there is another one, if you are studying general nursing, can you go into other specialist nursing types? You certainly can. There's always opportunities to progress within nursing, particularly if you do the 1 year full time on completion of your nursing program. And there is a question in relation to what does a pre-nursing student have to achieve in order to get into nursing. Well, if you're doing pre-nursing at the College of Further Education and Training, you already know there are you have to get 5 distinctions, and out of the 5, there are 3 mandatory subjects for distinctions. And they are the key issues in relation to after that, then it's actually a lottery basis for placements. But we're always very keen to get some students from the colleges of further education and training, people who've done their pre-nursing. They always actually fly through the nursing program. We're always very keen to have them on board. So we look forward to anybody that's coming from pre-nursing. Thanks, Jared.
Thanks, Geraldine. There's a couple of questions there on social care. One is in relation to the types of groups of people that you get to work with. Can you choose those, or are they given? And also in relation to if you do social care, can you get a job in a nursing home? So Mary Roisin, do you want to take that?
Yeah, so I can talk here for Kerry campus, and it's quite similar in Cork as well. I know, and Mary can speak to that, but we would have a list of pre-approved placements here. We have over 50 of them, and there are a variety of services. Nursing homes are feature on that approved list as well. Few, but we would have homeless services, children in care, working with young people, disability, acquired brain injury, physical disabilities, you name it, it's there. Do you get a choice then of what placement you do? Yes, you do. You indicate your preferences from our approved list, and then we work with the student and our provider to get them best suited to a placement in year 2. And then in year 3, obviously you have to go to a different placement category. So for example, in year 2, if you worked with young people, you wouldn't work with the same group in year 3. You would, be required to work with people with disabilities or in a homeless service or something different to what you did in year 2. So hopefully that answers. I think it's quite similar in Cork, Mary, isn't it?
Absolutely is, Roisin. Very same in Cork, folks. And just to flag as well, we've had plenty of students who come in thinking, oh, I really want to work in that area. That's the only area I want to work in. And when they do a different placement, they completely change their minds. So you might have an idea now of like the groups you really want to work with, but I promise you, by the time you graduate, that will have changed as well. So yeah, but everything else is exactly as Roisin says.
Thanks, Mary. Thanks, Roisin. I think we have, if you have any more questions, just type them into the chat. As we're waiting for another question, just to remind people that I suppose two things to keep your choices open for CEO. So where you have a level 8 or level 7, make the choices in those two routes. Oftentimes people just put, and I've seen it so many times where a student will just put down one choice for one program in university and maybe not get those points or be quite short and then have no options available. So inform yourselves, talk to as many people as you can here at MTU. You can reach out to any of us through the website. The contact details and the coordinators are listed there for each of the programs. So if you have any questions or concerns, follow up with us and we'll get back to you. And as we said at the start, cao@mtu.ie. That's a generic email that will take any queries you have in relation to any of the programs or any general questions you have in relation to MTU. So that's cao@mtu.ie. So you might think of something after tonight's session that you want to ask. So again, that's the email, cao@mtu.ie. What time is the open day in Kerry on Saturday? That's a question that's come in.
It's from 10 o'clock until 1 o'clock in the North Campus.
Thanks, Michael.
And you know, Jared, as part of the open day, anybody who comes along will be able to get access to each department that they're interested in. I have a feel for the department, get to look at all the classrooms and all the resources there. So we welcome anybody who's available to come to the open day who's interested in the programs.
Absolutely.
Thanks. Again, I think we've answered most questions again. We just have 1 or 2 more minutes if people want to. Oh, yeah. Is there a pathway into second, third level education through the ECCE? Is secondary teaching, lecturing, etc. for example in English? That's the early childhood, yeah?
Yeah, I think there's definitely a pathway into primary education. Then once you have a degree, I think it depends very much on the providers for secondary and third level education. But yes, certainly it's a pathway to teaching. Yeah, definitely.
Thanks, Maurice.
They just say that the example is lecturing in English, and perhaps it's not English, lecturing in English as such, but lecturing in early childhood
Yes.
might be closer to the mark.
I think Philip is typing the details of the open day in Cork. Just to answer that question. Ken, any other last questions?
I suppose it's important to say that we're always available. If anybody has any other questions outside of this evening's webinar, or if you want to visit any of the departments, we're always available and want to support that. We'd be only delighted to facilitate you.
Thanks, Charlie. And I suppose the other thing too is, I mean, look, leaving cert is a very stressful time. And I suppose when your leaving cert results come out, and if you don't get your first choice, always look at what's available. So again, talk to us if you haven't got your first choice. There might be another similar course that might be available or another option available to you. So again, we're here to assist you and help you. So I think we've kind of come to the end of the session. I just want to, on behalf of the team here, the MTU team, thank everybody for attending this evening. I'd like to wish you all the best of luck in your upcoming exams, and I hope the study goes well for you. And hopefully we'll see many of you on our Cork and Kerry campuses next year as students. And again, delighted if you could attend our open days coming up. And again, an opportunity for you to engage with us and we can answer any questions. So thanks again for attending and best of wishes.